For years, I thrived in the high-pressure business world, but the workaholic life finally caught up with me. I was 35, very overweight, in chronic pain with severe mobility issues, terrible diet, no exercise. My health was a complete wreck. Then I went to a gentle yoga class and felt truly relaxed. The stress just melted away. I went from a size 18 to a size 8. I stopped getting sick. Pain disappeared. I learned to open my heart and I felt happy for the first time in years. So I said goodbye to the business world and started teaching. Yoga doesn't have to be strenuous. The easiest movements can trigger major release of chronic symptoms no matter your age.
Healing Yoga. Yoga for real people with real problems.
Hello, I'm Deborah Devine. And yes, as you just saw, I used to have real problems before finding gentle yoga. I was constantly stressed, and one thing that was really affected was my balance. As we age, this can also be caused by medications and different conditions like shingles. Based on my experience, I've created a very simple practice that allows us to feel more stable and secure. We'll start with floor exercises to ground the spine and the mind, and then we'll stand and cultivate balance. These are very simple poses. You don't have to be athletic to do them. Do the whole series, or if you're busy, just 1 or 2 poses will bring balance to your mind and your body. Let's start the healing. Joining me today, Linda, who's been dealing with some shingles-related dizziness, and Janet. Welcome, Janet, who's been dealing with some tinnitus and dizziness. Let's start with a warm-up. We'll come down onto the ground on our back in constructive rest. Let the arms help you as you come down. And keep the knees bent. Now, if you're feeling very dizzy and you'd like to reduce the amount of movement that you're doing, then you can just rest here. Or you can just make very gentle and subtle movements. Let's take a long, slow, smooth out breath and take the knees over to the left and the head over to the right. An in-breath brings everything back up to center. And then a long, slow, smooth out breath comes along again, and the knees go in the opposite direction. Head moving in the opposite direction of the knees. Then we come back to center. Now these movements can be as deep down toward the floor as you like. You can stay close toward the midline if you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable. And we're gently releasing stress and tension out of the spine. We're releasing the muscles on the front of the spine, the psoas muscles, which are really charged up when we feel a lot of stress. And dizziness, vertigo, and any kind of balance issue can be very impacted by stress. So using the breath and slowing things down and moving very gently can help us feel very grounded. Our spine is connected to the earth. And if we pause at the end of the complete out-breath for just a moment, that can really settle the nervous system. This is a very grounding movement sequence. When we feel dizzy, we feel out of sorts, we feel unstable. And so just resting the spine on the floor this way and these gentle movements can bring a wonderful sense of stability and security. Let's come back to center. Then we'll take the feet a little bit closer to the midline. Heel, toe into the midline. Then we take the right foot up and over, resting on the left knee. We circle the foot. And then we go to the right sit bone and we draw the right sit bone down towards the ground and point it towards the grounded foot. We get this external rotation of the upper leg and the knee moves away from the face. Then we just rock a few times here. Let go of the jaws, let go of the eyes, and let yourself feel rested back into the floor. Then we'll come back to center. Unravel the legs, and then the left foot comes up and over, resting on the right knee. Please continue to enjoy these rocking movements, and we'll be back in just a few moments to help with more solutions for dizziness.
Healing Yoga. Yoga for real people with real problems.
Hi, my name is Linda Riddell. I'm 65 years old. I've been experiencing a lot of dizziness since February, I wound up with shingles in my ear, and it completely closed off my ear, so I couldn't hear. Therefore, my balance was off as well. I was banging into walls in the beginning. It was an awful, awful experience. I have been back to yoga now for maybe 4 months, and I find that I'm getting my balance back. It's very slow. I even feel that the yoga is helping with my ear.
Welcome back to Healing Yoga. Today's episode, we're working with dizziness and balance. So Linda, tell me about what you do to help you maintain your balance.
Well, when I've come back to yoga, once I was well enough to, I stay away from everything scary. And I just work hard at my yoga poses, exercising, getting stronger.
That's great. That's really wonderful. These next poses are going to really help cultivate balance on both sides of the body. So let's come into cows and cats. We'll come into table pose on hands and knees. And the palms are a little bit forward of the shoulders. Spread the fingers nice and wide and press down into the base of the fingers, especially the index finger. And we're a little bit lighter on the heel of the palm so that we can really ground and distribute the weight across all of the fingers. Next time an out breath comes along, take the sit bones and tailbone down and look down between your feet, arching the back like a Halloween cat. An in-breath comes and we take the sit bones and tailbones high, broadening the shoulder blades, bringing them down towards the waist. Exhale again. Tailbone, sit bones come down. Gaze comes down. Inhaling, coming back. A few more rounds of cows and cats will really allow the spine to release. We carry a lot of tension on the front of the spine and the sides of the spine, and these cows and cats can really reset our nervous system. The spine is an extension of the brain. Now we'll come back to center, and we will take our bolster in between the legs. We're coming into crocodile. So the bolster is going to be coming in between the legs, and we're going to rest the belly so that the edge of the bolster is just below the heart. We take the legs out to the sides, and we let the forearms come together, and we rest the forehead down. When we rest the forehead on our forearms and we allow the belly to feel compressed, this is a very grounding and very soothing kind of pose. We use the out breaths to really feel like we're connecting to the earth. This is a wonderful way to experience a sense of coming down and balancing. We are using the in-breaths to expand through the back bottom part of the lungs. This is where there's a very high density of those air sacs that exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide. And when we bring breath down into that back bottom part of the lungs, our oxygen uptake improves greatly. Let's come up into child's pose now. Use your hands and your upper body strength to bring you back. Let the knees be wide, let the feet come together, and we'll use the bolster to support the forehead. So we'll just bring the bolster forward a little bit. And if you feel very flexible in your hips, you can just keep your buttocks close to the heels and rest your forehead on the short edge of the bolster. If you feel like that's a little bit too uncomfortable, please just bring your knees and your feet and your hips into alignment. And let your sit bones come up to the sky and let your spine pour out of the pelvis. Resting the forehead is a wonderful way to ground the mind and to cultivate a little bit of balance. Please continue to enjoy child's pose for the next few moments. And when we come back, we'll have some more solutions for dizziness and balance.
Healing Yoga. Yoga for real people with real problems.
My name is Janet Hegbloom. I'm 68 years old, and I have found I'm having problems with balance and dizziness fairly recently. I do tend to get headaches. I suffer from headaches almost daily, and very often I find that if I sit down, I stand up, and I kind of go dizzy and topple. I'm hoping to get from healing yoga some positions and some advice as to what I can do to help me with my loss of balance when it happens. I'm hoping that learning certain areas of yoga might help me this way.
Welcome back to Healing Yoga. In today's episode, we're dealing with challenges around dizziness and balance. Janet, tell me how you deal with dizziness and balance challenges.
Well, it's kind of scary, really, because when it happens, I just stop and try to get my bearings, sit down or just kind of take a few deep breaths and go from there.
That is a great idea. And in fact, that's exactly what we're going to be doing in the next sequence of poses. Let's come to Tadasana. We're going to be standing in mountain pose. So we come to the mat and we have a chair on standby. It's going to be our security blanket in case we feel a little bit off balance. Let's take the feet a little bit wider than the hips. We'll take the heels out and the toes in, and we'll rest back toward the back line of the body. And if you're feeling a little bit unstable, you just come to the chair, come to a wall, whatever's handy. When we're feeling dizzy, when we're feeling out of balance, it can be very stressful. So it's important for us to stabilize and ground before we move forward into the next activity. Let's take a few breaths. Long, slow, smooth in-breath comes up the front line of the body, lifting everything in its path. It crests like a wave at the crown of the head and turns into an out-breath and cascades down the back line, taking the shoulder blades down, taking the sit bones down, and grounding through the heels. Now, with one hand on the chair, ground onto your left foot. The right foot is going to just come up, and the inner part of the sole of the foot is going to rest on the ankle. See what's going on here. We're moving into tree pose, Vrikshasana. Press down into the grounded foot, the ball of the big toe, the ball of the baby toe, and the heel. Feel a lot of energy happening in the whole leg. Hug muscle to bone. Squeeze. And then if you feel like you can take your hand off of the chair, off of your support, and you feel stable, cultivate your balance here. If you feel like there's no problem, then maybe you'd like to move your foot up the leg just a little bit, maybe to the calf. Maybe up a little bit higher. We're not going to jam into the knee here. We're just going to gently move the foot into the other leg and move the leg into the sole of the foot. Inhale, lifting everything on the front of the body. Exhale, everything on the back line of the body is descending down. Now we can move the arm out and just really reach out. We're going to point the arm down. The branches of our tree are coming down, but there's a lot of life in this branch. A lot of prana, a lot of energy. Spread the fingers and really move the arm bone out of the shoulder. This is our tree. Then we'll let the arm come down. The bent knee comes to the ground. Come back into Tadasana. Feel how wonderful that grounded leg feels. Feel how much more strong and alive that leg feels. There's this wonderful connection to the ground. Now we're going to cultivate that on the opposite leg. Spread the toes nice and wide, and then see if you can lift the left foot up and rest it on the ankle. Bring it up a little bit higher. Test yourself and see how your balance is doing. And if you keep falling over, just keep coming back to your support. And then coming back to center. Now we're going to come to seated, and we'll take a breath practice. That's very effective for cultivating balance. So when we come onto the chair, we sit close to the edge of the seat. We take our sit bones and we try to clear the deck so that the sit bones can make contact with our chair. Move the buttock flesh back and out of the way. When we sit on the front of the sit bones, the low back and the upper back come into alignment so we can support all of our muscles and all of our organs. Your hands can be resting on your thighs. And we're going to be moving into this breath practice called Nadi Shodhana, the alternate nostril breath. So there are a couple of different variations. It's not really important to have the exact hand formation, but I am going to show that to you. Take the index finger in, take the middle finger in, take the pinky finger onto the ring finger, and then this becomes sort of lobster claws here. So we're going to take the ring finger and the thumb, and the pads of those are going to rest just at the bottom part of the bridge of the nose, right where the nostrils start to move out. We're pressing into the ring finger and allowing the out breath to come through the right nostril. Then the in breath comes through the right nostril, and we switch over. So the thumb is going to press into the nostril, and the ring finger is lifting up. So we're exhaling on this side now, inhaling, and then we're going to switch over. Exhaling, inhaling, and switching over. Exhale, inhale, and switch over. When we engage in Nadi Shodhana, the alternate nostril breath, we are balancing the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere of the mind. We can cultivate a sense of awareness on both sides of the body. And there are a lot of people that experience a wonderful sense of rebalancing after they complete several rounds of alternate nostril breath. If you're feeling like one of your nostrils is blocked, or if you're having trouble breathing through your nose, you can imagine that the breaths are coming through the nostrils, but just breathe through the mouth. Close your eyes and come into an awareness of what's going on deep inside the diaphragm, the lungs, the sinuses. Please continue to enjoy Nadi Shodhana for the next few moments. We have been cultivating balance through this practice. We've been cultivating balance in our minds and our bodies. And when we come back in a few moments, we'll be cooling down.
Healing Yoga. Yoga for real people with real problems.
Dizziness and balance issues can be exacerbated when our minds are busy. Practice short meditations throughout the day to calm the mind. Welcome back. In this episode, we've been dealing with balance and dizziness and using our gentle yoga as solutions for that. So we've been cultivating a sense of groundedness, resting our forehead and really grounding through some of our standing poses. We've also been working with the breath to cultivate balance on both sides of the body. And now we're going to take an extended Shavasana. It's very important to rest when we're experiencing dizziness and balance issues and vertigo. Let's come down into Shavasana. We're going to be using a bolster to support the knees, and that will take a lot of pressure off of the low back. And the head and the neck are going to be supported with a blanket. And we like to have the shoulder blades resting down, coming down towards the waist, broadening through the collarbones. And we can take the arms out into a T. And so we're just moving the collarbones a little bit more wide so that we can get breath a little bit higher up into the top parts of the lungs. Now, the legs can come apart. We can take the knees apart and bring the soles of the feet together. So the soles of the feet are coming together and the knees are coming apart. Yes. The soles of the feet are coming together. Yes. Wonderful. Then we've got a sandbag or a rice bag, and we place it on the low belly. This is a really wonderful way to sense groundedness. When we're experiencing dizziness and balance, we feel off center and we feel like things are moving. Using weights to help us create groundedness in our Shavasana is a wonderful practice. And then we can use an eye bag to help us move the forehead and the brain, the front brain, down and back. So we don't want to rest the sandbags on the eyes. We'd like to have it resting more on the brow bone and the forehead. Now I'm going to adjust Linda. Allow yourself to feel completely surrendered to the supports underneath you. Let yourself take a few moments and feel this wonderful sense of expansion around the breath, around the diaphragm, around the ribs. Take a long, slow, smooth in-breath into the feet, the legs, and the hips, breathing in light and spaciousness, exhaling tension, exhaling holding. Please rest here for at least another half hour in Shavasana, and we'll see you next time on Healing Yoga. Namaste.